Well, good morning. A little bit of a change in our approach this morning. We have to make some slight alteration to our introduction because, God bless them, the people at Facebook are very good at protecting the interests of everybody. And it would appear that somehow in our thing yesterday, something we put out yesterday, we had 12 seconds of something that we broke the copyright law. We used 12 seconds of somebody, or at least they allege that. I've been over it very carefully, but I can't see where it is. So the best thing is to not use it at all until such time as we've sorted it out, because I can't see that we've broken any rule. But rather than push it in everybody's face, let's settle it like gentlemen, and then we can get on with it. So this morning I thought that it would be appropriate for us to start off with something like this. And why shouldn't a cow have a Christmas as well? And I don't mean on the table as a plate of roast beef. There is our lovely Jenry down in Priory Park. Do go by and say hello to him. He's a very friendly chap. He likes people going down and chatting to him. And if you're lucky, if you're one of the privileged few, he said, if you're one of the privileged few, then what you can do is you can listen very carefully, and he'll give you a little nudge of history. We try hard to report it on Mirador television, and tap in, because there are bits and pieces of historical interest. And can I say straight away that there are. Our sense of history in Lewis is terrific, probably far, far above the national average. And the groups that appear, Hastings Group and the Battle Group and the Seaford Group and the Lewis Group, or groups that appear on Facebook, do a pretty good job on reflecting that history with old postcards and so on, and little items of interest and photographs that people have dug up. And Mick Symes, I think that's how his name is pronounced, who looks after Lewis at present, certainly has a good feel for history and what's going on. He also, I think, has my sentiment, is that we have to keep kicking at our local councils to get things done. And I haven't seen lately anything on the wall, the historic wall down by the dripping pan that was threatened with falling down. Graham Mayhew, former mayor, but certainly a local historian of some note, was trying hard to get the council to mend it, because it was one of the walls where when the French attacked Lewis in the 1300s, it was one of the walls of the priory where a skirmish, at least, if not a battle, took place. And good, sturdy British bowmen saw them off. So we certainly need to keep hold of things like that. So we'll check that out. Anyway, a few burblings the first thing in the morning, and as usual. One of the things that I speak of history is that there is a very good stylish magazine, and stylish is the right word, because it's Sussex Style magazine, and it has a lot of historical articles in it, and it's worth getting off the shelf. It's a paid-for magazine, which is a bit unusual these days, because people aren't ready to fork out money when they can get things for free on the web. And that's the problem that newspapers are having, of course. I mean, it's altered the whole media scene. But it is worthwhile, and it lives up to its name of stylish. So Sussex Star magazine comes out about 10 times a year, and it is worth a read, and it is worth the purchase. But let me say to you that the publishers of this, and the editor's name is Sean Kane, and the artistic director is Richard Judd. They both decided that perhaps there was room for a specific Lewis magazine. We do have, of course, Viva Lewis. They felt that there's some competition, and I believe that that's right, because perhaps one of the things that is a problem with tiny towns is that we get entrenched into using things that we've used forever, and we have a certain sympathy and respect and even affection for them. But of course, that doesn't make things grow. So they are going to put out a magazine called Town and County. It'll be popping through your mailboxes on Friday. The online version, I believe, went up last night as a test, and we look forward to seeing what that has to offer when it pops through. So two magazines, healthy competition. I think that my friends who still operate Rocket Radio felt that it was okay to have some competition from us this year. It did them no harm whatsoever. I think they were better than ever this year. And I hope that bit by bit we're going to get a little bit better as time goes by. It's a tough old game, the media game, and I can understand why youngsters shy away from it. It is not easy, and it is an authoritarian game. In the news business, you can't have democracy. You have to have somebody at the top calling the shots. Mind you, that person at the top also has to take the blame if anything goes wrong. So, don't go into the media business if you're faint-hearted. I know that a lot of people take media studies and they get a bit shocked if they get a job at all, because there are far too many people with a degree wanting a job in media than there are jobs to go around. So that's a pity, really, because we could do with the media expanding again, but it's not going to, as long as the economic circumstances say no. But I think that there can be a lot more done on the web if we actually put our minds to it and our backs to it and our shoulders to the wheel, as it were. Let's see, this is experimental, what we're doing at Mirador, and hopefully it won't stay experimental for too long. We'll be able to branch out. And already we've got listenership overseas, viewership, I should say. We've got some dedicated people in East Sussex. We've got some in other parts of the country, and it's growing all the time. Now, sometimes we get as many as 4,000 people watching one of these programs, and other times we only get 200 or 300. What we need to do is to establish a good core who are going to watch fairly regularly, and that's what our aim is at the moment, to sort of steady the ship and see where we're going and what we can do. But the morning rants will stay, and I'm sure you say, oh no, we don't really want to listen to you ranting, Keith. But let's have a bit of a rant this morning. First of all, Theresa May has halted the vote in Parliament. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. It'll be my final word on Brexit because, or for today, I don't get involved in the Brexit argument because it's split families, it's split the country, it's split friendships, and it shouldn't have. Because ultimately, whatever happens, we all have to fight for it once it is law. And since the people voted, that's what we should do, is get our backs behind it and make it work. If perchance something happens so that it goes in the opposite direction, and legally so, then of course we should all get our shoulders behind it and do the same thing there. Although I think that would be a travesty if that happened. Never mind that it almost is a comment on Brexit, and it's not meant to be. Russell Bishop has been found guilty of the Babes in the Wood murders from Brighton in 1986. Two young girls of 9 were killed in the woods just outside Moulscombe, and he, at the time, managed to get away with it. The advances of modern science have meant that the parents fought for and got a retrial, and he has been found guilty. So that is probably a piece of news that is welcomed by everybody who had anything to do with that case, and perhaps by the country at large, in as much as with the advances in science and information technology, it's more and more difficult to get away with crime. And incidentally, it was rather good to see a lot of coppers around Lewes the last couple of days. Some of them are community police people, and their powers are limited, but nonetheless, they have been quite active in the town. And since we're always complaining that we don't have bobbies on the beat, it was nice to see long may it last, although I doubt it's probably just a temporary thing for Christmas, and then they'll move on somewhere else. But nonetheless, it was a good sight, a bobby on the beach, standing on the corner. And in fact, it was also nice, and it's built community spirit to see people chatting to them, and them chatting back. There was none of this ear, I'm a copper, and don't approach me, mate. It was good to see. Let's see whatever. Now, let's go on to the real meat of the matter, because when are we going to start to call for? Well, we are calling already, but when are we going to see changes in the council structure and the people that make it up? I'm sort of somewhat sympathetic to the politicians, because I think they don't really know what the heck is going on in their own councils. It's those people that are behind the locked doors. And I did listen one day to one councillor who said she had to turn up unexpectedly and dash into an office just before they tucked the files away, so that she couldn't see them and couldn't get any sort of answers to her questions. So the poor old councillors are given the runaround by the people who are paid. The people who are paid have gone one step too far, in my opinion, this time. And what they've done is they left on their website saying, let's find something nasty to build in New Haven. So people can say, oh, it's a bit of a mistake, a bit of a joke. But the fact is, it is the inherent thinking that goes on in these councils. They really could get a fig about the people they're supposed to serve. They really do not. They're the people at the front desk do. They're very good. They're very nice. They're a bit useless sometimes. I'm sorry, because I know some of the ladies, and I don't mean that quite the way it sounds. But they are very good PR ladies, and they put a brave face on things. The fact of the matter is many of them are not trained to do the jobs that the backroom boys are doing or supposed to do, and get great glee in twisting around. So when I went to, I was asked to go down and talk to them about the council tax, and I went down and I talked to them, and the lady didn't know what to do, because the circumstances weren't covered by the boxes on the paper. So anyway, I had a long talk, and I said, will you register the fact that I've been in to have a chat? What do I get yesterday? Another demand. You have not been in touch with the council and so on. I mean, it's very typical, isn't it? It's very typical. You can't get through on the phone, but they're not talking to one another. Their system doesn't work. And the bloke in charge has his background, his IT. Do you understand why I get hysterics whenever I think of Lewes District Council and the people at the top? Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh so much, but I mean, really, we don't need to go to the pantomime. It's all we've got to do is to read what Lewes District Council has been up to. And now East Sussex Council are showing complete and utter disdain, and have, along with the bus pass issue and the library issue and the getting kids to school issue, who've shown complete and utter disdain for the people they're supposed to serve. So bag and baggage out. Not only elected people, but also those people who work there. And I'm told, in fact, I bumped into somebody on the Saturday morning who knows the lady who's at the top, and said she's a very nice lady. And I'm sure that she is a very nice lady, but she's overpaid and underworked. Because the fact of the matter is nobody, in my opinion, is worth £250,000 for that job. We're a rural county. This isn't one of the greatest jobs in the world, and we don't have Brighton under our wing, so it's not that onerous. I'm not suggesting that there's not a great deal of responsibility. Of course, there is, but not for £250,000 worth. And to be quite honest with you, whether you're nice or not is quite irrelevant. They just don't. There isn't a culture of thought about the people they're supposed to serve, and serve. SERVE. You see, apparently there was another story yesterday that a lot of council officials and teachers and so on and so forth can't spell. So what's going out, heaven only knows. They're not fit for purpose, and there's got to be a huge shake-up. If Brexit, the debate in the House of Commons and the issues at central government serve any purpose at all, and that is to shake up the system, so much the better. Because if it isn't shaken up, we'll get a Trump. we'll get a Trudeau. We'll get the name of the French president has just escaped me for a moment. Macron we just are going to get the second raters. And if we get the second raters, that's the sort of life we'll lead. There's no sense in thumping the desk and stamping our little feet and saying, something must be changed. Somehow things have got to change, and somewhere it's got to come good, and it's got to come good from the people. And that's us, chaps, that's us. They've forgotten at the council level who we are. Well, if you want to go with the railway, we're the clients. Actually, what we are is the taxpayers, and that's all they seem to be interested in is tax. They always get that right for some reason. Why is the tax issues they get right? I have no idea. I'm just looking down here, but I think that's probably a lot for this morning. Because there are two or three more issues that a good friend of mine has been dealt very badly after working a lifetime. She's injured beyond able to going back to work. And is she getting any help or compensation? No. You didn't expect it, did you? You didn't really expect the people that were there to serve society would serve us. Oh, no, I'm not going to mention her name because that would be embarrassing for her. But believe me, these cases are coming up time after time after time. Something has got to give, and it shouldn't be us. Ta-ra, toodle pip. Don't forget, Town and County. Watch out for us through your letterbox on Friday.